36. Go for launch.
That is the launch director. They are ready to go. We are getting very close to T-minus 30 seconds, and you will hear a number of instructions.
T-minus 30 seconds.
A number of instructions to them once we take off. Space Launch Live, first time in nearly a decade. American astronauts on an American spacecraft
Stage 1
launching
expressing
from
for flight.
American
T-minus
soil.
15 seconds.
And here comes the countdown
10,
now.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed. Spot and dog.
Stage 1 pulse is nominal. M1D throttle down.
The throttle down call is because they are getting ready to the most aerodynamic stressful part of this flight. So they take the power down just slightly.
There is the 1,000 kilometers per hour mark. That's 621 miles per hour.
So the vehicle is supersonic.
M1D throttle up.
They're throttling up. There's max Q, the max aerodynamic pressure peak, the most mechanical stress on the rocket. As I look up, we can still see the orange glow, and I tell you what, it took 5 seconds for the vibration and sound from that liftoff to affect us here. You can still see it just screaming almost straight up, even though they're pointing a little bit downrange now.
Started that back engine chill.
Approaching rapidly 3,000 kilometers per hour. That is 1,864 miles per hour.
And Chris, while you see that plume
Chris,
coming
I
out
can
of the back
still see
expanding, that's because there's not as much atmospheric pressure on it, so that's why it expands out like that. And we are getting, that first stage engine is going to fire for about another 20 seconds, 23 seconds.
And Christian, that is really a step that we want to pay attention to, that separation of the first stage that will then return back to Earth.
Yeah, we're going to get very busy here in about 5 seconds. You're going to see Nico, the main engine cut off, and then you're going to see the separation. And stand in mind for that.
Nico.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
So the main shut down, and you see separation there too. That
And
is
back
the first
ignition.
stage falling away.
See also
So
that
now the second stage is going to fire.
leaving the stage 2. They're now approaching 7,000 kilometers per hour, which is 4,049 miles per hour.
Now the thing to watch now, Chris, is that first stage. It's going to be
nominal.
That means that's good news. That's the rocket that's still on the Dragon, is doing its job, moving these guys into an orbit that'll put about 200 kilometers below the space station. And you can actually see that second photo. It's great to see inside. There's the triple screen of the two astronauts. The Dragon and the Falcon are basically, actually it's the second stage now, are on autonomous power. But Chris, we really want to pay attention to that first stage. As Davenport says, it's a secondary mission, but it sure is cool to watch it land on that ship out in the Atlantic.
Now, quickly approaching 8,000 kilometers per hour, which is nearly 5,000 miles per hour. They are really moving. And Bob and Doug appearing very, very cool, calm, and collected in the Dragon capsule. Amazing to get that live shot of what they're experiencing right now. Want to bring in Mike Massimino. Mike, take us through what Bob and Doug are going through.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
Yeah, they are so well trained for this, Chris. They've had countless simulations, played everything, every emergency possible, and they're just looking and looking and hoping and praying that everything's going well. It looks like it is. I know that first stage we're going to be excited to see that, but the world that Bob and Doug are living in is just making sure that that engine is continuing to burn, that they're still on the right trajectory. All the systems are looking good, and it looks like they are. As we see them just watching, that's probably a good sign. That means all the automatic sequences are working well. We don't hear too much chatter coming from the control center, from MCC. That's a good thing, too.
Almost to 10,000.
And then when you hear that word nominal.
Go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
When you hear that word nominal coming, no, it's fine. When you hear that word nominal, that's always good. That's the NASA jargon for everything is A-OK. We're looking good, just like we expect. So we want to keep hearing that for a few more minutes and get those engines cut and get them in space safely.
And there's that 10,000 kilometers per hour threshold, which is just over 6,200 miles per hour. And the picture on the right, I have to keep reminding myself that that's a live shot. It looks like the greatest science fiction movie ever produced. It's just so fantastic that the launch was a go today and has been a success so far. Really, really amazing stuff. David Curley, what's the feeling like on the ground? Are you seeing the first stage rocket at all coming back?
Not yet. You can see it. It's got about another 3 minutes until it'll do its entry burn, and there are 9 Merlin rocket engines on that.
Nominal trajectory.
They say everything is normal with their trajectory, meaning they're heading onto the right path to try and get on the effort to catch up to the space station. So you're seeing in the first stage, you can see those grid fins that you mentioned, Chris Jacobs, that will help guide it. But at 8:45, so plus 8:45, coming up in about 2 minutes, you'll see 3 of those 9 engines fire to slow it down. The first stage doesn't have any of that protection when it comes back into the atmosphere. So the way they overcome that is by firing the engines and slowing it down enough that when it re-enters the atmosphere, it won't burn up. And it'll be a 34-second burn of that entry stage of those 3 engines to bring us in. And seeing some of these pictures of Doug and Bob in the capsule is just remarkable. We haven't seen a lot of American
Stage 2
astronauts.
propulsion is still good.
And just to clarify, that picture on the left is the Stage 2 rocket propelling the Crew Dragon capsule. The picture on the right is actually the Stage 1 Falcon 9 rocket